go for an Elspeth, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that's what happened.
Yeah. You said go for it.
That's bold, but it is working here. Now remember, Calcano does play Hero's Downfall in this deck. He's only a single black in play right now. And 3/1/1s is something he can actually deal with. So a resolved Elspeth is not game over right now.
Elspeth's going to go up to 5. There's 3 tokens. And he's just going to pass the turn back. So now here's a rev for 2 from Calcano. He needs some help. So he's going to start by drawing 2 cards, push his life total up a little bit here, and it's going to be an expensive end of turn divination.
Yeah, so we are post board here. So just to go over what that means, is it means not only do both players have Etherlings. Normally it's Max has Etherling and Elspeth are his win cons. 1 Etherling, 2 Elspeth. He also now has 2 Jason Memory items, so he has 5 cards to fight over. On Calcano's side of the board, he still has his 2 Etherlings, but he gets to supplement them with 2 Ashiok, the Nightmare Weavers, and maybe even 3 Blood Baron of Viscopas.
Here's the Hero's Downfall that you spoke of. Going to take care of the Sun's Champion. And Calcano going to pass the turn back. So that Ratchet Bomb on 3 that was ready to take care of Detention Sphere cannot take care of Hero's Downfall, that brand new removal spell that kills Planeswalkers.
That is what Max's whole... If you're wondering why he cranked the Ratchet Bomb up to 3, though, Detention Sphere is exactly what he's holding it for. Also, remember, deck lists are public. Ashiok is another thing he's holding it for.
So an attack for 5 here from Tietze. He's going to get a little bit aggressive in the mid-game here between these 2 Sphinx's Revelation decks. Mutavault's going to go back. Tietze is going to play an Azorius Guildgate and pass the turn back. Calcano's going to draw an island, and we'll see how he wants to navigate this turn.
If Calcano actually has to be conscious of his life total here, because Calcano's playing Esper, he has a lot of non-basic lands, whereas Max's reward for just playing blue-white is he gets Mutavaults, which means he can actually chip at Calcano's life total and force Calcano to start casting things. Which is really good in this matchup. Both players, remember, the idea is both players want to just sit back and play lands and do nothing. And the first player to cast something, usually, casting something's bad. That means that means that you're down mana when the actual relevant counterspell war happens.
In the face of Ratchet Bomb, Detention Sphere is going to come down. Watergate is going to come in and play tapped. You see the Sphere is going to take care of the 3 tokens. And, yeah, sure, there's a Ratchet Bomb out there that can take care of the Sphere, but the damage is already done by the enchantment.
I mean... Yeah, if you kill the Sphere, you get the tokens back, right?
Nah, something like that.
Okay.
See 2 mana here from Tietze. Gonna start by cycling Azorius Charm, get a little bit deeper.
Yeah, Azorius Charm is oftentimes a card which you board out in this matchup. Tietze has kept it in here, which I'm actually interested by.
Yeah, I mean, he may just not have anything else better to sideboard in. I think that could be the issue.
Absolutely depends. He has certainly if he has 4 Supreme Verdicts, those are not real cards right now.
See a Merciless Eviction in Calcano's hand. He does play a land for the turn, so he's actually sitting much better than he was when we turned into this game.
Yeah, I mean, both players are doing well. Calcano right now has 8 lands in play. Both players actually haven't missed a land drop. They're both on 8 lands. Calcano resolved a Revelation. It was just for 2. That's not huge. I think the game is on a fair amount of parity. It's like fair amount of parity. It's pretty even. Calcano has Thought Seized once. The big thing is that Mutavault right now. It's going to force Calcano to play.
Yeah, it's going to force the action, whereas if that Mutavault wasn't there, Calcano could sit around all day long, pick his spots, turn on his discard. Now he's just going to go Aetherling. Wow, just right in Tietze's face. And Tietze says, I have a Dissolve. So Calcano thought he had a read on the situation. Scry with the Dissolve. Tietze says, actually, I've got Aetherling covered. I'm passing the turn back.
Wow, now if Tietze has Aetherling Dispel, Tietze can resolve his own Aetherling right now. Calcano plays 2 Aetherlings, so he still has 1 more he can cast. That was a pretty bold play right there, though.
Yeah. That's a loud declaration to me, Matthias, that maybe Calcano doesn't have very much left in the grip. We know he has Merciless Eviction, but outside of that, it doesn't seem like he has very much. And I can see Tietze reaching for a lot of mana here. 6 of it, in fact. It could be Elspeth again, or it could be Aetherling of his own.
He's left that Mutavault mana here, actually. Interesting, so the Aetherling of his own, maybe he doesn't have... And that one's just going to resolve.
Yep.
I mean, that's game in this matchup. They're actually... Neither player is playing Debtor's Pulpit, neither player is playing Pithing Needle. A resolved Aetherling is pretty much just the game.
Yeah.
That's the game. That's the goal. He just reads win the game on it.
Yep.
Calcano knows it.
Calcano picks up his permanents immediately. So we're going to move into a third game between these two exquisite Magic players. Christian Calcano going back to his sideboard. Again, gold level pro. Max Tietze, multiple time Stars 2 Games Open Series champion, invitational winner as well. Take a look at the sideboards. I'll let you go over Calcano's first because he is going to be on the play for this third game.
Well, they've already boarded. I mean, when I'm looking at what he's boarded, we saw he has Merciless Eviction in. He probably has both of them, just on the merits that the card can get rid of a lot of things that Max plays, like the Detention Spheres, Planeswalkers. It's a ton of mana, though, and I actually don't really like it in this matchup. I don't think you ever want to be tapping 6 mana at sorcery speed for anything. The great cards for Calcano, though, are those 3 Sin Collectors and 2 Ashioks. Those things are great. On top of that, he has a Negate and 3 Thought Seizes. He is ready for a control mirror here. I think that's why he's been so good in this mirror today.
Tietze's side, 2 copies of Pithing Needle, 2 Yolked Ox. Again, we saw those be pretty good against Turtenwald over their 2 matches that they played today. A Celestial Flare, 2 Last Breath, 3 Negates, 2 Jace Memory Adept, and 3 Glare of Heresy. So none of these cards really stand out to you outside of Jace Memory Adept, but some cards have some uses here. Of course the Negates are going to come in, but the Glare of Heresies are pretty interesting, right? Because those can kill Detention Spheres, and is it worth it to have that effect to be able to do so?
Well, it depends on how many things Max wants to board out. I know that the Supreme Verdicts are pretty bad in the matchup, and by bad I mean they just don't do anything. I don't know if there's other things that he actually wants to board out. He has a Celestial Flare that does so. You lose Celestial Flare and Verdicts. That's 5 cards. That's Negates and Jaces. I don't know if the Glares actually come in. I think they're worse than Ratchet Bombs, which kind of serve the same purpose. I don't really want to cut Divination. I don't actually want to cut Quicken in the matchup because I think Quicken Divination is actually a thing here.
Okay.
Build your own inspiration is fine. I don't want to cut any hard counter spells. If he really wants the Glare of Heresies, he can cut Azorius Charms for them. Azorius Charm doesn't do anything in the matchup, so that when you are boarding the card out, what you have to decide is, would I rather have, is Glare of Heresy better than a random card from the other 56? I think the answer is no, actually.
Thoughts on Pithing Needle?
Pithing Needle is interesting. It can name Ashiok, which is really good.
It's really, really good.
It's really good when it's on Ashiok. There's probably some number of needles in here.
Okay.
You can also name Etherling, which is kind of self-destructive, but probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, kind of self-destructive, I agree with you, but then, Tietze maybe says, all right, I'll needle Etherling and try to beat you with Elspeth Sun's Champion. That's my way to try to beat you.
Well, the thing about it is that he's probably almost certainly boarding out a Supreme Verdict, so even if he needles the Etherling, I'm not positive he can just, normally you'd needle it and then you'd kill it. I'm not sure you can kill it after he needles it.
Yeah, that's true. Could just be an annoying 4 or 5 running around.
So I kind of want to frame this matchup, though. So how does the control matchup work here? Before we've seen cards like Nephalia Drownyard, makes it really clear how the matchup works. Let's kind of talk a little bit about blue-white control versus Esper control. So the game plan is first player to resolve a big spell wins. The big spells are Etherlings, number 1. Max has a secondary spell in Elspeth. It's usually good enough to win, but not always good enough to win. Same is true of Jace Memory Adept. So he has, in total, 5 cards. He needs to resolve one of them. One of them, the Etherling, auto wins. The other 4 do really, really well. So when you figure it from Calcano's side, he needs to resolve one of 2 Etherlings or 2 Ashioks. Yeah. So you start, and so then the question is, how do you resolve spells? Well, the way you resolve spells is by winning a counter war. And the way you win a counter war is by having a lot of lands. Calcano has a secondary way to win a counter war because he's playing black, in which he can slowly take the relevant spells for the counter war out of Max's hand. And that's why black has been being really good for him. He has those 3 thought seizes and Sin Collectors.
So yeah, he can be proactive in taking care of the counter spells instead of just having a reactive game, which I'm a fan of proactive Magic. Doesn't surprise you, I'm sure. But that's one thing that he has that Tietze does not, as we are going to see both players keep their opening 7. We are underway in game number 3 here of our semifinals. Calcano with a Watery Grave, going to follow up with a Swamp, no white mana just yet. Tietze with an Azorius Guildgate, draws an island for the turn, so lands are not going to be a problem.
This phase of the game is just, you want to hit every land drop forever. So what that means is that the fight actually is over Jace Architect of Thought. That's the best card advantage engine in the deck. If you have a Jace working, you probably will not miss your land drops. Sphinx's Revelation actually can also serve this purpose. It's the only reason it doesn't is because it's actually not very mana efficient at doing it.
Question has been asked here by Tietze. He's going to play a Ratchet Bomb. Calcano says, I'm going to syncopate that. I'm going to play Goblet Shrine untapped right now, too. This feels like an Ashiok to me.
From early Ashiok.
Yeah. Oh, Sin Collector. Okay.
Just as fine.
So here comes the hand. You've got Divination. You've got Jace Memory Adept. You see a couple of lands there in Plains, Hallowed Fountain, and I believe a Mutavault. And I think that's actually, might be double Divination.
It's double Divination. It is. Mutavault, White Land, Hallowed Fountain, Divination, Jace. And so it's going to get a Divination.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's a 2-for-1.
Yeah. You're happy with that.
Max's hand is great this matchup. Remember how early on we said that it's all about not missing a land drop? Well, his hand is 3 lands and 2 card draw spells.
And you just drew another land.
All right. I like it right now. Now, the fact that Calcano knows what's in Max's hand means that Calcano can actually start resolving things. You know, he can just run out his own Jace. He could run out an Ashiok.
Yeah, which he just did.
He's going to do.
Now, unfortunately for Calcano, he's going to exile 3 cards, Detention Sphere, Plains, Island, attack for 2. I bet he's feeling pretty good right now. The problem here is that off of that Divination from Tietze, he did draw a Detention Sphere.
And Calcano, this is like one of the cardinal sin of control mirrors. He's passed the turn without a 4th land.
Yeah, well, we know Tietze isn't going to miss, so now he's just trying to ride Ashiok to victory. But Tietze is sitting here with the Detention Sphere at the ready for the new Planeswalker.
Ashiok in this matchup just pluses its way up to 10 and then minus 10s.
Yep.
And then starts plussing its way again. And just keeps doing that. So the Ashiok plan not going to work as Tietze grabs the Ashiok with the Detention Sphere. The scary part for Calcano here is he knows there's a Jace Memory Adept in Tietze's hand. Christian's going to have to fight over that spell. But because of his mana situation, he's going to eventually lose that fight. Remember, Max can kind of just bully him with lands right now.
Yep. You see, Max doesn't really need to make a move. He can, he can cast, his Jace Architect of Thought that he does have. He doesn't have to, though.
He has an Architect as well now?
Yeah, he has an Architect and a Memory Adept in his hand.
And he can go ahead and go for the Architect.
Yep.
If Calcano has a counterspell, he has to use it here.
Yeah, and you see Calcano, I think he's staring at a gate. We also know he has a Hero's Downfall in his hand, so he's probably going to have to make a move here.
He only has single blue, so he can't dissolve either. This is a really rough, difficult situation. And the problem about being land screwed in a control mirror is it's really hard to pull out of. So say Calcano draws a land, which is what he wants, right? Well, then what about the next land and the next one? Because it's not just like he wants a 4th land, he wants a 9th land.
Yeah, it's going to do running lands, and then if it's running lands, then those are all the spells that you have, or the ones that you're holding.
The spells he's holding might be fine.
That's true.
But saying that you need to draw 5 running lands is not realistic.
Alright, here's Downfall. Going to take care of the Jace. It did go up, so that Jace didn't really get anything done, as Calcano's going to draw his card. He's going to attack.
It's not a land. And if Max gets +3 lands on Calcano, it's almost impossible for him to come back. You can see things like he'll play Jace Memory Adept with Negate up. Calcano on single blue can't fight it.
So Calcano drew a Revelation. He missed again. In for 2 comes the Collector, but no land, and now he's going to Revelation here from Tietze.
The best part is Calcano has a counterspell, and he can't counter this because he knows that Memory Adept will resolve if he does.
And if Memory Adept does resolve, that could be lights out. But here's Syncopate for 1. Calcano says, all right, I think I do have to counter that. Sphinx's Revelation, as Tietze will quickly untap. He'll take a draw step, and maybe he's going to slam down that 5-mana Jace.
This is what I say when I mean Max is bullying Calcano with his mana right now. He can play the Memory Adept. He does have a Syncopate in hand, so if Calcano doesn't draw a 4th land, his only 2 answers to Jace Memory Adept are the Detention Sphere and Hero's Downfall. And a Syncopate for 1 actually takes care of both those answers. Max is probably debating here whether or not to play Jace. Oh, he doesn't have the 7th land.
Yes, he doesn't make a move. And there's a land for Calcano. So now in for 2 comes Calcano with the Collector. He's at 10. That's not something to ignore.
Okay, to be fair, Calcano can still win this. Tietze is down a few lands, so his ability to bully is a little less. I think now that he has the counterspell up, we're gonna see him go for Memory Adept.
Yep, and there it is.
Remember, he has a Syncopate for 1.
So Calcano says, I'm going to try to dissolve this. Max says, well, I've got a negate, so that's not going to work.
So now if you're Max, you can mill 10, or you can draw a card. The problem with milling 10 is that the Sin Collector actually will start attacking your Jace.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't draw a card, Calcano could just Hero's Downfall. We know that he's seen at least 1 Hero's Downfall. He doesn't know how many Calcano has.
Revelation, mill, Detention Sphere drawn for Tietze.
I think that's +1ing is exactly what I'd want to do here. I might actually just continue to +1 the Jace for a while.
Yeah. I don't think it's time to mill just yet. I think we want to get a little bit deeper. Hero's Downfall looks like it's going to get cast, so get that out of here,
Card
too.
is so good right now.
Yeah, really, really good. In for 2. Going to put Tietze down to 8. So even though Calcano's not hitting land drops, he's trying to put up a fight here, and he's doing a pretty decent job of it, honestly.
It's not going to kill him. Max does have a Mutavault to block. So he can trade the Sin Collector with a land. But he's gotten Max. The Sin Collector's done 12 damage so far.
Yep.
And also importantly, Max is now down one of his Jace Memory Adepts. So remember, his win, the cards he has left to win with are 1 Jace, 2 Elspeth, and an Aetherling.
Calcano draws a land. It's Azorius Guildgate, so unfortunately for him, it's going to come into play tapped. And it looks like Max is going to finally cash in the Mutavault. He says, blocks? It's like, finally. All right.
I would have loved to see Calcano take the line of kill spell.
Yeah, kill your Mutavault. Let's keep going.
It's like, no, this is the game plan. This Sin Collector is the game plan.
4 mana, and this looks to be the game plan. There's a Jace, there's a Negate, and all that Tietze can do is syncopate for 2. Oh my god.
Calcano is a wizard right now that he is still in this game.
Is he going to negate back? Okay, so negate back. Yeah, his Calcano, I think he just says, darn it. I really wanted to counter that. So now it turns over 3 cards. Oh, only 3 lands. It's got Island Plains and Azorius Guildgate. I say only 3 lands.
All the fans, I said yes, 3 lands.
Yeah, you're in heaven.
Lands are great. I mean, to be fair, actually right now lands aren't all that good for Max. He already has the land advantage. And all the land advantage he could want. What he needs to do is make sure he still has counter spells when the counter war happens.
Yeah, he needs action. He's going to play a Plains and pass the turn back.
I mean, Calcano only has 3 blue sources. Like, Calcano can't fight a full counter war. He can't pay for syncopates. The best part is, like, we're on turn, I don't know, 9, 10, and Max's syncopates are still hard counters.
And they want to... Calcano is wondering if he did play a land or not yet this turn. I think it's possible that he did. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, when he played the Jace Memory Adept, he had Negate up.
1, 2, 3.
And that he played his 7th land, and last turn went Jace Memory Adept to Gate, which Calcano... Hero's Downfall main phase, I'm not positive.
Yeah, so I think we're good. You see Calcano takes a look at an Aetherling in his hand. There's the Temple. Scry is nice.
Keep a land on top if it's not a land, ship it. Probably.
Yeah, Blood Baron. Calcano's board into a more aggressive approach. This could get syncopated for 1. Yeah.
The best part is Calcano is forcing Max to make plays here. This is actually an approach that I probably wouldn't have taken in the matchup, but you know, Calcano is showing me wrong, proving me wrong here. Obviously, the experienced pilot, you know, he actually is playing just a lot of threats, and Max is running out of ways to deal with those threats.
Jace moves up to 3. Calcano has an Aetherling in his hand. He did just draw a land. I think he left on top of his deck. You see an island there. So now Calcano, this is interesting because he has Aetherling, and I think he wants to do exactly what he did last game, which is just jam it.
And I think that's why he was jamming before. You know, he knows that one of Max's 2 cards is a Plains. That was from the Jace last time. He played the Guildgate.
Oh man, I thought he was gonna jam it for sure. Wow.
I'd have done it. I don't want that Jace to go -2. I think I'd have done it.
I thought he was gonna jam that for sure. So now Jace is gonna go -2. Hit 1.
Ratchet Bomb.
Hit 2.
And now the Aetherling's gone.
Yeah. Chop up the Dissolve versus. Dissolve immediately goes to grip.
I don't believe Max had the counter spell there. Now that doesn't mean, like, you know, the question is, can Calcano win this game otherwise?
Yeah.
Right? He's down a lot of lands, and they're at the same card. The lands don't matter. I mean, the lands matter. The lands always matter. But what really matters is that Max owns a Jace. So Max will continue to draw extra cards.
Azorius Charm's going to cycle.
He doesn't draw extra cards very often. He draws, you know, what, an extra card every 3rd turn? Once again, my kind of grind.
Yeah, Revelation on the end step.
The best part, this is the bait spell.
Yeah, this is what we're fighting for.
We know Max has a Dissolve. And he has to dissolve here, right?
Yeah, this is interesting. Like, I feel like he has to dissolve this because if he doesn't, and this resolves, let's say Calcano draws into a Thoughtseize, blows up Max's entire plan of, Thoughtseize like your real card.
So this is why Calcano didn't jam with the Aetherling. He wanted to overload. I mean, you can't really overload Max's mana. He's just going to challenge Max to have 2 counter spells.
Which I like the challenge because, again, Max has only so many counterspells in his deck, and because the deck lists are public information, Calcano knows exactly how many Max can have after sideboard. And if you're Max, you can't stare a Revelation in the face and say, yeah, that's fine, draw cards. Buddy, I don't care.
If I'm Calcano, I'm making a checklist. Okay, here's what I've checked off. Negate, Syncopate, Dissolve. What's left? 1 Syncopate, 1 Negate, 1 Dissolve. That's it.
Calcano,
1 Essence Scatter.
Scrying. I think there's no way he doesn't jam it. Yeah, there's no way It's
And
good.
it resolves.
It's
Okay,
good.
This is, remember, that's the game. That's the goal here. Wait, there's a chance, but it's not a chance. Etherling is the game. You know, we saw that Max here drew Jace Memory Adept. Doesn't matter. Etherling just kills it. Like, there's no way to deal with Etherling. He needs, this is Max's one chance. He needs to have 2 kill spells for it. I don't even think he has 1 in his hand.
Well, he's got Jace. He has 1 kill spell. He has Attention Sphere. That's it.
Is it in his hand, though?
Yeah, it's in the hand, but it doesn't get the job done, obviously. And yeah, Jace is going to tick up. And there's a land. And for Tietze, he has Jace Memory up, but he can't use it. So now Calcano's going to untap that massive mana.
He has 700 blue mana up. That Etherling's never dying.
How about a Thought Seize off the top? Hand of Jace and Attention Sphere. I think you just take Jace, right? I don't think you care about the sphere at all.
I don't think you care about either of them, but you have to take one of them.
Yeah, you can't choose. You can't choose none.
You have Etherling and all this blue mana. What do you care about? Like, it's not dying. There's nothing left.
I think Calcano's trying to figure out what do I attack this turn. I think he kills the Jace. Because like he can't make a lethal attack because of the Jace's +1. So he just kills the Jace and then the lethal attack happens next turn.
I mean, he doesn't have to rush. I mean, okay, what he has to rush about is if Tietze plays his own Etherling right now, but Calcano's up 16-8, so I think even if Tietze plays his own Etherling...
Hey, Tietze plays Etherling, he doesn't even care. Now, this is what I was
Tietze
actually
cares
scared.
about Revelation into Etherling. Alright, so it's not done yet. Revelation into Etherling is a thing.
He actually had to peel. He had to peel Revelation not to die that turn.
Alright, and he drew Etherling off this. This is a... I think we have a legitimate race now, which may actually favor Max. Hold on. So it's not... Jump the gun resets the game here. He can play his own Etherling and use kill spells to fog.
But remember, this was a main phase Revelation. That's what you have to remember. Oh, this is disgusting. Oh my god.
And he did board in the Pithing Needles. Suddenly, the game has turned. Again. There is an answer to Etherling. Okay, he did have needles. We made a point of it. That is one of the 2 cards in the format that can interact with Etherling.
This went from facing lethal and being dead.
Oh man, Elspeth Sun Champion is in Max's hand now.
And now, I mean, that D-Sphere he has too just takes care of the Etherling.
I'm wondering that he actually doesn't Elspeth kill the Etherling. Elspeth?
I guess he could, but I mean, like, this is the... I'm not saying this is probably the best that Detention Sphere is going to get now.
Yeah.
Now let's think back for a minute here. If Calcano had just attacked the Jace, or excuse me, just attacks Max's face, he goes down to 1 with the activations. Then Jace reveals 3 cards. You know, Revelation was actually his draw step, so I don't think that actually changes anything. I think that Tietze had a draw step to not die, and he drew the perfect card.
Hit the Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, I think that's actually just what ends up happening there.
And he kind of knows it.
I'd be smiling too.
My opponent resolved an Etherling in the control mirror.
Yeah.
And then he thought seized me, and then I won.
Yeah, and then I peeled the perfect card in Sphinx's Revelation to get back in this. So he's going to play a land. He can slim down the Suns champion if he wants.
There are not many games where you win from this board state. Max is playing one of them.
So now there is the Elspeth Suns champion. That's going to come into play. Hit 1, 2, 3 tokens. And now this is the way for Tietze to close out the game. He's going to pass the turn back. Calcano's going to draw a card. He's going to play a temple. He's going to scry 1.
Remember, Max also has his own Etherling in hand.
Yep.
Unfortunately, someone played a Pithing Needle on Etherling, so it's not exactly the game ender that you would hope it would be. But Elspeth does a fine job on her own.
Yep. So 3 is going to come across on the ground, and the Suns champion is just going to keep making an army. Holofountain's going to come into play tapped. Max looks like he's going to be reaching for mana to cast his own Etherling now.
Yeah, we'll see if he goes for his own Etherling.
That's what it feels like. He's going to go up to 6. I think he maybe realized that, like, I don't need my Etherling to win this game.
Yeah, if something goes wrong, he may want to have Etherling. Oh, there's a Pithing Needle on it. I think you could maybe just play it.
All right,
He's going to replay Jace right now, though.
I think that's a good choice. Get that Planeswalker out there. Going to go down, so hit 1, hit 2, hit 3. That's Jace's Ori's Charm and another Elspeth Sun champion. Good luck chopping that.
He will probably take whichever pile has the backup Elspeth in it.
Right, there's your split. Jason is Ori's Charm versus Elspeth number 2.
Calcano can't actually just, like, present a threat to kill Elspeth. The only way he deals with it is with Hero's Downfalls, which he also doesn't have any more
Yeah,
of.
cast them both already.
Yeah, the backup Elspeth is still, I guess, in the abstract what you need. I don't think Max actually needs any cards right now, but it's the way to play it safe. In case maybe a Detention Sphere or something like that. 2 running Detention Spheres, I guess, could deal with this.
Tietze going to pass the turn. Ton of permanents out there. You see him organizing his board state. Calcano goes a reaching. 5 mana, let's clear Blood Baron probably. Yep. Be surprised if that resolves.
I'm going for it. 4 mana up. Tons of mana from Tietze.
Yeah. Tietze moved a Dissolve to the front of his hand.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah. 2 and well, a little more. This might be a Rev. Yeah, okay, Syncopate.
Syncopate for a lot.
That works too. Syncopate with Dissolve available.
I suppose even if Max didn't have a way to deal with the Blood Baron, I think he could have just actually erased it right now.
I think it's possible. As Tietze going to attack, Elspeth's going to go up. 3 more tokens.
And here we go. This is Calcano has 1 draw left, and I don't know if he has a live draw here.
I don't know if it exists, and that is going to do it. So Max Tietze defeats Christian Calcano 2-1. We'll be moving on to the finals. This is the only time Calcano has lost the blue-white control. We thought Esper was fake.